Welcome back. This video looks further at pineapple knots and does include some theory. Fear not, Lisa Burton has produced a recipe book that will save you lots of work. I do hope by now that you've checked out Lisa's documents, which are available from the top of the Advanced Gridmaker page. If you take another look at her pineapple knots document, there's a link to the recipe book in the Quick Start section. Let's take a look at a pineapple knot so we can understand some of the terminology that will be used. Here's an example. There are a total of 12 bites arranged in 4 bite nests. The base knot consists of 4 bites, as you can see here. For each bite nest I've used 3 strands. From now on you'll need to understand the terms bite nests and strands. Let's see how I came up with this pineapple knot design then. I've reset the Advanced Gridmaker page, so I'm starting from scratch. We scroll down. I'm using 3 strands, so for my pineapple knot I need 6 entries in this coding row. I need 3 overs and 3 unders. And if you remember, I normally start with an over, put as many unders as I need, and that will be 3, and finish off with the rest of the overs that I need. So that's 3 overs and 3 unders in total. I'm using 3 strands, so I'll use 3 colours. I could actually use 1 colour, 2 colour or 3 colours, but it just makes things easy to see if I use 3 colours: red, white and blue. I'm going to use a small strand gap size, 0.05 will do. I'll leave the shadow colour as saddle brown. I'm going to need 12 bites, because if you remember it's a 4 bite nest with 3 strands, so 4 times 3 is 12. I chose 21 parts as random. This may not actually work. If I was to refer to Lisa's recipe book, I know what combination of parts and bites work, so I do recommend that you take a look at that. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Column coding. We're not ready to go because we've forgotten that for pineapple grid we do have 3 nested bites in this case, but for 3 nested bites we need to shift the bottom bite by 1. Now we should be ready to go. Column coding, pineapple grid. Let's see what we've got. Now that looks okay, but if you look closely here, underneath the diagram we've got 17 parts and 12 bites. I wanted 21. Well, to increase the number of parts, if I drag this diagram down a little bit, I should be able to increase that to 21 and 12, 19, 20, 21. And that's worked. Did you notice that when I did that, the number of rows and columns changed as well? Let's say I've struck lucky by being able to drag that to get it right. I emphasise again, if you check out Lisa's recipe book, you know what will work and what won't. But when the diagram comes up, it may not be exactly what you expected. Mine wasn't here, was it? Because I finished up with 21 parts and 12 bites, and just by dragging this bottom right hand corner I could adjust it. It's not an exact science, so a little bit of practice and persistency is sometimes required. But if I show you something now, if I drag this to the right slightly, slightly to the left even, yeah, I've dragged it to the left. I've still got 21 parts and 12 bites. You notice the rows and columns have changed. I know that I need to adjust the rows and columns without changing the parts and bytes. That can be a bit tricky, but that's how it's done. If I wanted a longer pineapple knot, for example, with 4 nested bites and 3 strands, I could play with this bottom right hand corner and drag it until I find something. There's another one, that looks good. 29 parts, 12 bites. It's all about experimentation. Yeah, that doesn't look bad, it only uses 2 colours there, but that's not bad. There's another one. So you can try all sorts just by dragging this bottom right hand corner, or if you want to be sure that you're going to get something that works, use Lisa's recipe book. She put a lot of work into that, and it will save you tons and tons of work. One final bit of theory that you ought to understand. We talk about types of pineapple knots. You may not have noticed the different types as you've been experimenting by dragging the corner of the diagram, so let me explain. A pineapple knot, as you already know, consists of a combination or interweaving of a number of Turk's heads. Where one Turk's head encompasses the smaller Turk's heads, this is a type 1 pineapple knot. Here's an example. The red Turk's head encompasses the other 2. When experimenting like this, I would tick the consolidate overs and unders box. Do you remember why? Because it makes the run lists easier to understand when strands wrap round when going from top to bottom. A type 2 pineapple knot is one where each Turk's head is of equal size and the Turk's heads are stacked. Here's an example of a type 2 pineapple knot. The red and white Turk's heads are equally sized and stacked on top of each other. My original definition of a type 3 pineapple knot was incorrect, and my thanks to John Olwine for correcting me here. Here is a type 3 pineapple knot because the red, white and blue Turk's heads are all the same size and are stacked. The yellow one is the only one that's small. In summary, the type is defined by the number of outer stacked knots. I'll stop there because this has been rather a long video and there's been such a lot to take in. Thanks once again for watching, and I hope you've learned something.